Hello again. This is a video dealing with the profiling of engines in Railroad and Co train operation. The whole idea of profiling an engine is so that the software knows exactly where the engine is or the train and can control it according to the specific details you put into the software. A test track is required and it consists of 3 consecutive sections of rail. First section is on the right. There's a blue marker there which is the start of a centre section which runs around the back of my layout. The red marker happens to be the centre of it, and then there's another third, what's called a run-out section after the blue marker over on the left-hand side. So the process is to locate the profile engine onto the first section. I need a V-railer because I'm useless at actually putting anything that's got more than 4 wheels onto a piece of HO track. I'm using Train Controller Gold, and here's the standard characteristics of an engine within the software itself. The item is already identified and has an address of 7. Here are all the functions which are reflected over on the train controller window, and I've already set the forward and backward speed of the engine in here. I've also going to adjust the momentum with its low acceleration. I'll leave the deceleration set as is. Automatic speed and control is what we require, and we can do advanced fine-tuning of the engine itself. Although this looks complex, it's really a dialog box to give you the facilities to actually test the engine, and there's a whole series of either timed or section controlled monitoring. I'm going to use 3 sections or blocks as I referred to, and you can see I've already entered that the centre one is 135 centimetres, which corresponds to this particular block section here, which is monitored on the S88 controls. There's already a red dot on the first section, which is where we placed the engine. There's the run out. There's a run out length of approximately 35 centimetres with a 2-second pause. These are the 2 graphs relating to the actual speed itself, and I'm going to initialize these so we get these 2 red lines indicating the lowest start and the highest speed on the graphs, both forward and backwards. If we start the operation, then providing that the engine's on the start section, we can see a circle around the first decoder notch, as it were, which happens to be number 2, that has a profile of 8 kilometers forward and an internal coding number as well. So here's the engine setting off on its initial low speed on the test track. If we come back to the software, we can see it's now moved into the centre, which is really the testing section of the track. And once it's gone through this particular section, then we can see that it moves into the end section or run out section where it will reverse. It stops and the software sends it into the reverse direction. Now we're seeing it's measuring the decoder number 2 position in the backward direction with a profile of 8 kilometers per hour. So here it is in quotes real life, i.e. the model. it stops and reverses. And eventually this comes to the end and goes on ad infinitum, moving through each of the steps of the decoder. Eventually it reaches the top and finishes at the top decoder position, and we see a trace here on the two graphs in forward and backward direction. The final thing is actually to put some brake compensation in. This really is to deal with any flywheels that keep the engine running when in fact you want it to stop. All it does is measure the centre section, and it is a bit sort of hit and miss or variable as far as this is concerned. So I'm going to try it in the forward direction and run it at approximately 60 kilometers per hour. So you've got to choose some sort of midpoint, which is an average running speed on the display itself. We'll start the operation. We see the speed indicated to us over here on the right, and it slows down according to the distance of the centre section. If all is well, then the engine should actually come to a halt where the little yellow disc marker is shown on the layout. But it's missing it, it's running too fast. So here we have the manual intervention. So what I'm going to do is actually run it with some brake compensation, arbitrary amount, number 7, try the whole thing again. And that looks good enough for me. So the true test, of course, is to actually make sure that trains, if you require, stop in the middle of a platform when you run them with the software. So here on this centre track, I've put another yellow disc, which looks like a man thrown at this lady sitting on the chair there, but it actually marks the centre of the platform. Here it is, run on a schedule, and it should stop in the middle. Well, that's good enough for me. So now if I loop up all the carriages which were sitting on the other track and I advise it that it's now a longer train, then in theory the engine should again stop with the coaches in the middle of the length of this platform. And there we are. Well, I hope you found that of interest, and look forward to seeing you again sometime soon. Bye for now.